Yo. Two dudes on the mic, keeping health in sight. Dr. Goodman and Ben making wellness feel right. From workouts to hacks and science that's real. Dudes talking health, the conversation you feel.
Matt Maldonado, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be on with you guys. Yeah, excellent. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, Matt, you're a friend of Casey's. You've known Casey for a while. How'd you guys meet?
High school. Yeah, we went to high school together. So
Go Golden Hawks, baby.
That's right. Yeah. So I
Golden
recently.
Hawks.
Matt was part of the cool kids, dude. Like he was a cool kid. He played football.
Yeah.
You know, he's athletic. He's all the things we all wanted to be. But you know,
No,
I don't hold any bad blood. I don't hold any bad blood.
No. So yeah, let's.
Matt, are you?
that freshman prince?
Yeah, Casey told me that story. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So you were the prince as a freshman, and
Yeah.
Casey was up for it, and you beat him, right?
Yeah, I guess I beat him out by a couple votes, but he recently reminded me of it.
Every once in a while, I just think to myself, Matt Maldonado.
Where could I have been if Matt didn't beat me?
That fucking guy, dude. Just every once in a while, you know, just hits you. You know,
Exactly.
out of nowhere. Just, oof, man, I got to find a way to deal with that rage, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're like scrawny and not real big, you know, because
Otherwise,
at least I could, you know,
yeah,
at least I have a
exactly.
fighting chance, right?
Matt,
Turns out that didn't work out either.
Yeah.
Matt, are you a bodybuilder?
Yeah, so I was a competitive bodybuilder for over 10 years. I won the USA Championships in 2020 and turned pro there, and then competed on the pro circuit for a number of years and did a bunch of pro shows. So I traveled all over and taught seminars and training camps, and competed in like Japan and Europe and all over the US. So that was my life forever. But now I'm getting a little older, and you know, things are hurting a little bit and you don't respond the same way. So I'm maybe pumping the brakes on it a bit. I haven't competed in like 2 years. So
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Well, that leads me to my next question. How did you get into? Because you're in peptides, right? And you sell peptides. How did you get into that? Was it through the bodybuilding?
Somewhat. My background is like sports nutrition. I worked in the sports nutrition world for many years with all the major brands that you see at the stores or on Amazon. I worked with those guys a lot. And maybe like 8-9 years ago, I was brought onto a company to formulate a new brand when CBD was really popular. And so we're looking for like manufacturers and stuff and how to integrate CBD into sports nutrition. And through that research, I met the lab I currently work with to try and make our products. And getting to know them and working with them, I realized their whole business wasn't just CBD and cannabinoids, it was peptides. So I kind of, after we launched this brand, I kind of just branched off into the peptide world and started learning more about it and seeing how they did it in the lab and how they made it and what these peptides actually do. I was somewhat familiar with them to start with, but I wasn't really like well educated or realized the benefits of them or what they did. Working with these guys for years and being there firsthand, it just kind of fell into my lap. And then here I am all these years later.
So how long have you been in peptides?
Since like 2018.
2018. Okay, gotcha. And what's the name of your company?
My company's called Biomedical Nutrition. And so the lab that we work with is an FDA approved lab. And then the peptides aren't FDA approved, only a couple that you see on the commercials. But our lab is FDA approved, meaning we have to follow all the guidelines of the FDA. And all our machines have to be up to date, and all our clean rooms have to be, you know, perfect. And they come and inspect us. So we are able to synthesize and make all the peptides through our licenses and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah. And then, so where's the lab at that you work out
in
of?
Orange County, Southern California. So Northern Orange County. But our clients and all our customers are nationwide. So we supply a lot of different doctors and med spas and individuals and you name it.
Okay. So your client's actually the doctor. You don't sell to individual consumers?
We still do. Yeah. Like we have a website if people are interested in our peptides, because it's the Wild West with peptides these days. It's so mainstream now and getting so popular. 5 years ago, no one knew what it was. And now you see it on every Instagram reel or every little.
Yeah.
Now everyone seems to have a peptide company. But the unfortunate part is people don't know where it comes from. And most of it's shipped from overseas and it's not regulated and there's no cleanliness. And who knows if it's the actual peptide or how much is actually in it. And there's no guidelines on it whatsoever. So our lab is obviously a legitimate lab. And so we do sell to some individuals who are interested in a high quality product they can trust. So yeah, we're available directly or through a website for that purpose as well.
Hey Matt, what is there like third party testing that goes into like verify the contents of these peptides, or what companies are out there that verify
Yeah, there's a couple different labs you
the
can like
content?
send batches to. It can get kind of pricey, but there's a few different labs that offer that kind of service who are just like a testing facility. But you have to remember too, there's like ways around it too. So someone can like pixie dust test some Orlin into some peptide, and so it could show up on a test like, oh, there's a ton of test when in reality it's a bunch of filler. So you have to be super cautious still.
Does the lab you work with, do they have to undergo some kind of verification
Yeah,
process
we have to.
through the approval
Every
process?
batch has to be screened for endotoxins and has to be verified and by amounts and stuff. Otherwise, we lose licensing. So we have.
Is that specific endotoxins, or is there like a panel that you
Yeah,
guys kind
we
of
go through the whole
that
thing,
runs
and
the
we have
gamut?
a doctor and like a third party doctor who does it, so we're not biased in our findings or anything. So we have someone actually come in and do it for us. And even if one bottle of the batch is off, we have to discard the whole batch. So more if like some bacteria gets in one tiny bottle, the whole batch is done. So we have to be like on top of our game to be able to produce this kind of stuff.
So the quality is high, and that's the most
Correct.
important thing, it sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So if someone listening to this podcast wanted to go and look on your website, what's the website? Where could they find your peptides?
My website's biomedicalnutra.com, Nutra. On there, there's like a little section that shows all the peptides. You can order directly on the website, and then there's other things you can reach out for, like different information and stuff. Obviously, we can't give like medical information or dosing information, or because a lot of these aren't FDA approved, and there are studies on a lot of these, but again, it's the legalities and everything. We can't provide that.
Yeah, can you kind of comment on that a little bit, Matt, for the people listening? Because I'm a physician, right? So, people will ask me about peptides and peptide use, not all the time, but it's becoming more and more common. And for a while, I really didn't know what to tell them in terms of the legality of it all. I was kind of, oh, well, I think it's like kind of
Yeah.
legal, kind
It's
of
like gray
not. I'm
area.
not sure.
Yeah.
So do you know anything like that, like a simple, easy way to kind of explain how doctors are able to use these products and give them to patients?
Yeah. You just have to be very clear with them. I mean, as a physician, you can say, this is what the studies show with this particular peptide, what it can do, what its benefits can be, how it can help you. But you have to also mention, like, this is not an FDA approved product. This is kind of like maybe research based. You have to say that there are other options out there, but you can, if as long as you kind of give them the heads up, you're okay to give them to your patients. And you're seeing it more and more these days. There's so many doctors using peptide therapies, and they're great with like cancer research, not only like healing or anything, but like for immune system to help with people with cancer. It's incredible what these things can do. So, but you got to kind of go through the loopholes of explaining it properly to your patients.
Matt, I want to get into like really specific peptides and ask some questions about that. Before I do, I want to understand your business a little bit better. So you have a lab in Southern California that makes the peptides, and then do you have business partners for Biomedical Nutra?
No, it's just me, and then my I have a team of 4 chemists, and they're the ones who synthesize and make all the peptides. We do it all in house, so they're my partners. But they're the lab side, and I'm the business side, basically.
Okay, and you've been in business about 7 years. You said 2018.
Correct. Yeah. So,
Gotcha. Okay,
but the lab's been there since 2010. They've been doing this a long, long time.
what's the size of the business now? It sounds like you got the lab and you got people testing, and you work there. What kind of like how many doctors do you sell into? Like, what? Give me an idea of like the size
Yeah,
of
we're
business.
scaling up, especially these last year or two. It's growing more and more. So we have doctors nationwide. We kind of just started out in the bubble of Southern California, just the outreach there. But it's really grown nationwide. So I mean, we probably have doctors, maybe not in every 50 states, but all throughout the country. The numbers hard to tell, but it's growing each couple months. And then yeah, more and more are coming on. And the more people we talk to, the more people that hear about it, they kind of jump on board.
Yeah, that makes sense. And okay, so I want to get a little bit. I understand the business. I want to get a little bit to some specific
Absolutely.
peptides.
Yeah. It's the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's the fun. That's the good stuff. I looked at your website. It's clean. It's a really nice website. Which peptides are the best sellers?
Best sellers right now, BPC 157. That's like the go-to peptide for everyone, especially people just starting. That's probably the most well-known as far as peptides go. That's a healing peptide. It helps regenerate wounds or tissues or ligaments or joints. That one's fantastic. That's a great seller. You're starting to see more of like the med spa ones. So obviously you see the commercials for like Manjaro, Ozempic, the GLPs. Those are through the roof right now because they're becoming a lot more mainstream and they work fantastic. The results are crazy with those. So you see a lot of those selling a lot.
The first one you mentioned was BP 157.
EPC 157, body protective
BPC.
compound 157. Yeah. So if you have like an injury or something, it'll speed up your healing process.
Okay.
It's pretty, yeah, it's
It's for recovery.
correct. Yeah. There's other indirect benefits too, like for your gut and stuff, but that's mostly what it's mainly used for.
Okay. And then the next one you said is the
The
GLP-1,
GLPs,
which
yeah.
is like Ozempic, weight
Right.
loss.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they're originally, made for like blood sugar control and diabetes and stuff, but then there's this weight loss effect. And then now the FDA approved some of these medications for patients and you're seeing everyone on them, but they work pretty remarkable. I've honestly, especially with a bodybuilding background, I've never seen anything work quite like these. It's pretty remarkable what they can do and how fast the changes happen with these. It's pretty.
That's interesting. So you see a lot of competitive bodybuilders utilizing the GLPs
Now,
to
yeah,
shed
just in
weight.
the last 2 years. I mean, when I was really competing, no one was using them. But now they're becoming more readily available and people are understanding more. And it makes it tempting to want to, diet down again when you have these things that can help, reduce your hunger and get you to drop extra body fat and stuff.
You
With
said that
some of the
you
sorry,
said
go
that
ahead, Ben.
you said that the bodybuilders are using the
They're
GLP-1s.
starting to, yeah. You're starting to see more and more guys use it. Yep.
So that doesn't make sense in my mind. So help my basic mind
Yeah.
understand
So
this,
you
right?
get
Because like
when you're,
I think about that as like losing weight
yeah.
and someone that wants to lose weight, but usually a bodybuilder, they want to shred, but they don't want to really lose weight. So help me understand that.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to be in the extreme caloric deficit for many, many weeks at a time. And so as you get leaner and your body stripped of body fat, you kind of lose your energy and you lose your will to do things and you're kind of a zombie walking around and you're so hungry all the time. So now that these GLPs are here, one of the main things with the GLPs is there's a pretty strong appetite suppressant. So you kind of get rid of that food noise. As a bodybuilder, and the next thing you want to do is eat. But now you have something that'll kind of calm that down and you can, push a little farther and stuff. And they're becoming so much more advanced. Like the first GLP was semaglutide, and then they moved into tirzepatide, which is a dual agonist. Now they have a new one called retatrutide, which is a triple agonist. So retatrutide's showing to preserve muscle better than the semaglutide with the appetite suppressant. So there's many ways you can utilize it as a competitive bodybuilder to use it to your benefit.
Okay. Well, what else is really popular? Is there
Yeah.
those are
Yeah, those are kicking butt. NAD plus, you're seeing those in the hydration rooms and all the IV places and a lot of the med spas. That's great for your cellular health and anti-aging. That one's pretty fantastic also. That one sells a lot. And then you get the growth hormone secretagogues like ipamorelin, tesamorelin to help your body produce more growth hormone naturally. And that's great for anti-aging. That's great for your overall health and your training and your recovery too. Those are the big hitters. Then you get the
yeah.
one-offs like people who want help with the immune system. I deal with a lot of doctors, so I get a lot of immune questions. So we do like thymosin alpha, which will boost immunity and help with that. And then there's one called LL37 for viral issues, and that's like going down the road though. But the top three for sure: NAD, VPC, and the GLPs by far.
Yeah. Do you take any peptides?
BPC is my favorite one. I mean, not as much as I used to, but I train all the time. And, things start to hurt. My shoulders bug me and stuff. So when they get a little pinched or something's hurting, I'll use the BPC and be back to normal within 2 weeks. So that's
Oh, wow.
my favorite one for sure.
BPC.
Yeah, if you haven't tried it, for sure. Especially if you got something nagging on you, man, it'll fix it up.
Dude, something nagging. I turned 35 and there's like an injury in my body and it like moves around. It doesn't matter like
Yes,
it doesn't go away. It
I
just
watched
moves from like
BPC
the
and
calf
you
to
can
the
knock it out.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
great.
cool. Okay, so like the majority of the listeners are going to be men in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Is BPC what you would recommend if they were going to get into peptides, or is there anything
You want to
else?
kind of like an intro into it, but like I said, there's so many different peptides and they have like so many different things. There's some for immunity, there's some for healing, there's some for sexual health, there's some for brain health. You name it, there's a whole list of things that they can do. The older men, like there's one called PT141 that'll help boost libido and bring back like your desire a little bit. We have Kiss Peptin, which will help boost your testosterone and kind of bring you back that way, especially if someone doesn't want to go a TRT route. That's great. We have one called Maldonado that makes you tanner. So there's cosmetic peptides too. So you name it, there's something for it these days.
Casey, what peptides are you most interested in?
So just with our like training that we do, as lay people here, not like as professional freshman princes, but I was really drawn to the recovery peptides at first and the growth hormone secretagogues or agonists. For most of us men, I would say, if you similar to like women go to medical spas because they want nice skin, they want to look young, they don't want wrinkles, they want good hair, those kinds of things. I feel like men's kind of like trifecta is a hairline, muscle mass, and then vitality, like that vigor that you've got. And that includes like, sexual health and performance, but also just energy. Just they want to be able to run outside with their kid. We don't need to run a sprint. We don't need to be crushing it in the 40, but I want to be able to go outside with my daughter and kick the ball around a little bit and not feel like I'm just like rickety and crazy. And so those are kind of the three main ones that I looked into. And so the growth hormone secretagogues were a big eye opener for me. How even with minimal training, these secretagogues can really support muscle growth, and even with the more you learn about them, with the IGF-1 increase from the liver due to the growth hormone secretion, you really get good cell migration to the muscle, and you can actually get hypertrophy without any real resistance training. So either way, whether you're training a lot or a little, it's a great way to boost muscle mass
Absolutely.
and boost performance, as a natural consequence. And then when you combine that with something like, TB500, which is a fragment of thymosin beta 4, and then BPC 157, then you get all these just better recovery times. It's almost like you're back in your 20s and you go to the gym and you might feel sore for the next day or something. But, by the time you get around to chest day again, you're back.
You're
and
good, yeah.
You're feeling pretty good. You're doing okay. And so I felt like there was an easier time getting back to certain workouts. Ben and I ride mountain bikes, usually around twice a week. And I felt like a pretty significant change when I started using the peptides, just in the soreness, the ability to bounce back, get back out on the mountain. And, it was a significant enough change where I felt like I was confident in starting to recommend it to people and giving it a try, because sometimes you can convince yourself of these effects. You're like, am I feeling it? Is it placebo? What's going on? But it seems like when you read the data is real, it's legitimate. And then, well, at least in the lab, right? And then like the rat and animal data. And then the anecdotal experience of a lot of people, if you're listening to podcasts, it seems like, all right, like these two things are matching up. So let's go give this a go, And so that was really cool for me. I really enjoyed what I've done so far. And it's made me more interested in some of the mitochondrial peptides, some of the brain and the neuropeptides, neuroprotective peptides, because some of these things are, activating processes that are kind of counterbalancing each other. Some of these things they're catabolic and they're trying to create ATP, and then other ones support an anabolic kind of, cycle or, environment, maybe is a better way to put it. And so what really interests me, and feel free to expound on this if you have some expertise, but a combo of like a growth hormone with recovery peptide followed by a cycle of like the neurocognitive peptides or the mitochondrial health peptides that don't necessarily, like they're not total counteracting each other. I'm sure you could get benefit from both if you do it at the same time, but it seems like cycling those in various ways could be a really effective way for people to get the full benefit of each kind of like category of peptide.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, if you can, take one from here, take one from here, it's going to be in your best interest. So yeah, I'm on board. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah, it's perfect. So, and I'm super into the brain ones too. Those are like my favorites too. I like those a lot, but they're maybe not
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, because caffeine and
Yeah.
like I'm on like my sixth straight cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like let's be honest, I'm like going full bore here.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean,
Two young kids and a doctor and a couple businesses. Man, this guy's busy.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. So you need them, man. So, I mean, there's so many that'll help you with like brain fog and stuff, like BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which you have naturally in your body anyway. It starts to decline as you age, and we have the peptide that will replenish that. There's like Selenk and Cmax, which are like help with learning and memory retention and can help with like anxiety and stuff, or shown to help with depression. So yeah, they're all over the place.
Is BDNF something that you just directly inject?
Yeah.
Is that something that
Yep.
you get as injectable? So
Lifelines
okay,
you
interesting.
suit and inject just like you would any other one.
Okay. I just from what I had understood about it, there wasn't it typically wasn't an injected one. It was more like an indirect increase in BDNF
Yeah.
from some other
No, we have the
supplement or
actual
lifestyle or something
BDNF
like that.
peptide, and we even make it with the NAD too. So we have a combo of it as well. Yeah.
What do people report about that combo?
Yeah, they really like it. I think it's lower on the NAD side, so they get more of the brain benefit. But yeah, I mean, they love it. The reason
Which one is that? BDF?
BDNF, yeah. The reason we
And what does that stand for?
brain derived nootropic factor.
Gotcha. Okay. And that helps with clarity and gets rid of fog, or does
Yeah,
that
so
increase memory?
it's used a lot for dementia and Alzheimer's. So to replenish that in the brain as it declines.
Yeah, the synaptic plasticity they call it.
Yeah.
So the ability to form new connections in your brain,
Right.
right? The ability to try out new pathways, and that's really important in learning and memory, and obviously super affected in like dementia
Yeah.
disease
Well,
processes because they
that's why
just
we
lose the ability to
mostly
form new connections.
we provide it too, but if we have access to it, I like to try 'em myself too.
Yeah, no, that's really cool because I feel like there's a lot of, I mean, I'm getting a little bit, I'm like waxing, not poetic, but I'm kind of getting off into the weeds here. But even the BDNF seems like it's not a stem cell, but it does a lot of cool
For
things.
sure.
And synaptic plasticity has a lot of benefit, not just for learning and cognition, but we're talking like addiction, right? Like if you've been firing the same synapses and the same pathways for many, many years, it kind of forms like a rut in your brain, and it's a wagon wheel on a dirt road, and you just get to these same pathways, and they're reinforced over time if you never have the motivation to change them. And so giving your body the ability to form new connections, if you coupled that with some really great cognitive behavioral therapy that force you to try new habits and do new things in a different way, I feel like there's a lot of possible benefit there, for people that want to, build new habits or get out of bad ones.
Be life changing people, yeah.
It could be really cool.
Hey, Matt, I want to do, just the way we talked about cognition. I want to do just for everything that someone might want. I want you to list the peptide or what would be the best for that individual. So if I wanted to increase my energy levels, which peptide would you recommend?
Yeah, I actually we have a reference guide, and I'll pull it up just so I don't miss one, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a sheet that kind of breaks it down. Like, okay, I'm looking at here: fat loss and metabolism, cognitive function and mood, skin and hair health, repair and recovery, hormone optimization, immune health, sexual health, anti-aging, and longevity.
Okay, yeah, let's go over all those.
Fat loss ones are the GLPs, obviously, terzepatide, semaglutide, retatrutide, AOD 9604, and MOTS-C. I think almost touched on it a little bit when you were talking about metabolic health and mitochondrial stuff. And that'll help boost metabolic rate and metabolism. And then you have the tesamorelin, ipamorelin, CJCs, the growth hormone ones that'll indirectly help you, shed some body fat. Yeah, the cognitive we just touched on, BDNF, Selenx, and Max, and skin and hair health. We kind of touched on this. The copper peptides a very popular one too, GHK-Cu. You'll see that a lot with the women and in the med spas. It's supposed to boost stem cell production as well, but it'll help with hair, skin, nails. Also help with recovery, kind of like a BPC. And we have that in a combo. It's called the Glow Peptide. GHK, BPC, and TB all together. So
Glow peptide?
yeah, that one's becoming more mainstream too. You're starting to see that a lot with the women and in the med spas. So you're seeing those all over the place.
Do you guys carry that at TEEV? Do you guys have any peptides?
No, we don't do peptides.
Okay.
Not
Not
yet.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So sexual health, we touched on the PT-141 and the kisspeptin. And we have oxytocin too.
Real quickly regarding the kisspeptin, because you're referring to it as like a help for like testosterone therapy, right?
Yeah,
It's a natural, helps you naturally increase your testosterone levels. What would be like the benefit if someone says, well, why don't I just go get a testosterone pellet?
Yeah.
In my
Well,
butt.
I'm
Like,
big on
what's the difference? And what's the
on hormone replacement. I think it's fantastic for a lot of people and life changing for a lot of people too. The only difference is you're stimulating your natural production as opposed to giving yourself exogenous hormone. So
do you feel like do you get reports that people tolerate it better or that they have less side effects from it, or is it really like the same kind of feeling and result that people enjoy
I think
that they're doing it more
the
naturally
natural
than
production, or if obviously my background bodybuilding with the steroids, when people come off steroids, they're tanked and they don't want to start using,
Mhm.
testosterone again. That's a good replacement for them as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Is it like a softer landing when you're coming
Yeah.
down off some of that
And I know
stuff?
guys who even use it like during cycle just to kind of keep natural production going so they don't just tank when they're
Interesting.
off. So that's the benefit there too. So yeah. Another one you can touch on is it's called epitalon, and that one's supposed to lengthen your telomeres. So talk about anti-aging.
Yeah, really interesting in terms of longevity. Some of these peptides are sometimes I wonder if the peptides are just encouraging good behavior. You know, you feel good,
Yeah.
you feel energized, so you're going and doing good stuff, and therefore you're lengthening your life versus a direct actual lengthening effect, you know, and the telomerase activator epitelon is like, you know, intriguing in that way. If indeed telomeres are what, you know, cause our bodies to
Yeah.
break down and die, you know, over time. I mean, that's pretty well documented, pretty well established, but obviously not the only thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's what I tell people with the GLPs, like, okay, you're using this, like, establish good habits now, like, start to eat better. You're not going to be starving. You're not going to be wanting all this food. So, start to develop the habits of eating proper meals at the proper times. And once you come off the medication, then it's, easier to stay on track. So I kind of agree with you with that, but the GLPs do melt it off you too.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
So if you can combine the two, your good habits plus the GLP, yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah, we need some neuroplasticity, some melting of fat, and then a little bit of,
Yeah, you're set.
telomerase
Yeah, you're
activity, and you're
set,
good.
dude. So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Anything else? I mean, we covered energy,
Man, what are you
cognition.
interested in? I wanna hear what you're interested in.
Yeah, tell me, man.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm 41. I get exercise probably every day. I bike, I run. I'll compete in like mini triathlons. And it'd probably be calisthenics, mostly running, biking, that kind of stuff. So, and I'm interested in the cognition stuff, so I'm going to check
yeah,
some of that stuff
that's
out.
fantastic.
The NAD plus, I've heard. Talk about anecdotally. Casey had introduced me to one of his friends. His name's also Matt, and he was absolutely raving about NAD plus. And I haven't tried it yet because Casey and I have some other friends that have tried it, and they said it didn't really work for me. But he said it was like the best thing. I'll never not take it again. So I'm curious if the source is not right.
Possibly, yeah, I mean, you won't know till you try it. Also, it's kinda dose dependent, so I know if you do a lot, you'll feel flushed, especially if you're IVing it over time, like, yeah, you could feel pretty flushed and lightheaded from it, but I think it's kinda one of those, it's like a growth hormone, like a slow burn. You gotta kinda be on it for a bit to see the benefit of it. It's not like you're gonna do one injection and be like, "Oh my god, my life's changed." But yeah, you should definitely consider giving it a shot. Give it a good month or 2 and see what you think.
Yeah, I'm curious about there's a lot of stuff. Longevity, cognition, recovery. Like I said, there's a constant pain. It just moves around my body. Higher performance when I
Yeah.
exercise, that could be biking, running, swimming, whatever it is.
I mean, I probably wouldn't recommend this for you, but we do EPO also. That's what all the Tour de France guys were using back in the day when they got in trouble, but that'll increase your endurance and stuff. That's
Which one is that? EPL?
EPO. So, yeah,
EPO.
Lance Armstrong got busted using EPO when he was winning all the Tour de France's, among other things. But that's just like training at altitude. EPO kind of does the same thing, but just in a shot rather than training in the mountains. But yeah, I mean, I think the cognitive ones for you, especially with what you're doing, would be fantastic to add in. The
And the cognitive one is the BDNF.
EDNF or like a Solank or something. Those are great. Casey touched on the GH ones, how they'll release IGF antibody. We actually have an IGF one. That's more for like
Interesting.
my weightlifters usually utilize that one.
Is that pretty
Weightlifters too?
powerful? Is that pretty potent?
Oh yeah,
Just when
for
you
sure.
give it.
So
It's
and it's LR free, so it's a long acting, so you don't need to inject it every day.
yeah.
Maybe twice, 3 times a week. But I mean, your pumps are really good in the gym, and yeah, you don't have to wait to convert the growth hormone to IGF. You're just getting straight IGF one. But
Is there any upstream negative for just getting the IGF-1? Does it shut down any of the other
no, it
pathways
shouldn't
that you
affect any of your
would normally be
none of these
stimulating?
peptides should affect your natural production. I mean, they're just stimulating more of what obviously IGF-1 is getting. They are growth factors too. So if you have like a history of like cancer or you're cancer ridden or something, then I probably wouldn't recommend using any of them because in theory they could grow your cancer cells and stuff. But other than that, I mean, I think they're fairly safe. I would like to cycle everything. I think it's a proper way to do things. Just maybe even if you don't get used to it so quickly. But yeah, I think you should cycle everything that you're using, including IGF. But if you're looking to, really make improvements or recovery or whatever, IGF's fantastic. So
Matt, when you inject it yourself,
yeah. Use a little
Where do you
small
inject
insulin
it?
needle. Depends. You can sub-Q it. You can intramuscular it. I always intramuscular the BPC. I know a lot of people sub-Q it, but I like to put it in my shoulders when my shoulders are hurting, or I've done it in my knee, my patella, and done it in my
Just
You
like right
inject it
in the
right into
deltoid.
that
yeah.
place. Oh wow,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
So if I have calf issues, like inject it right to my
yeah. I
calf.
mean, it might be a little painful just from the injection, but because it's in a sensitive area. But my opinion, tends to work better site injected. Um, But it'll be systemic too. So even if you have a calf injury and you do it in your shoulder or something, you should still feel the benefit of it. Most of them are
Is it
sub-Q though. I like the sub-Q a lot.
are there any side effects, like any negative side effects people should be worried about?
That's the thing. Like you don't really see it too much with the peptides. With the GLPs, yeah, if you do too much, you might get nauseous and you're going to slow your motility and things like that. But if you go slow and taper your way up, you should be okay. But I mean, BPC, I've done a whole bottle of BPC in one shot before, and I'm totally fine. Thymosin alpha when I had a cold. I have young girls, so sometimes they get sick from school and they come home and give it to the house. I'll do a bottle of thymosin alpha and I'll be fine. So, I mean, not to make any claims either, but when COVID was crazy, that was a huge help too. Even if, I mean, it'll speed up your recovery time, but I never got like worse. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the sickness will come on and it's like, oh, I feel worse today. Once I started that, it would maintain and just improve. So, but yeah, I mean, so you can't really like, I don't want to say it, but you don't really can't really overdo them unless they're certain ones. Milano tan, if you do too much Milano tan, you'll get really, really dark. I wouldn't do that either.
And you don't need a prescription, like you can just yourself go and get these
Yeah,
peptides. You
but
don't
again,
need
like,
doctor.
yeah, if your doctor is providing them, then yeah, he's not going to write a prescription. You're not going to go to pharmacy and get them, other than the FDA approved ones, the Manjaro and Ozempic. But
Yeah, it seems like that's an important distinction where, I think technically when the lab produces it, they got to put on the box that these are research
right,
peptides,
yeah,
minus a few of them that are FDA approved for things, but otherwise they literally have to slap a label on there that says not for human consumption.
correct.
Like they are not allowed to market
Yeah,
to
usually they
people
say
and just be
research.
like, "Hey, take this."
Our bottles usually say like clinical use because we're selling to doctors.
Right.
So yeah, you got to kind of
Yeah, but as a doctor, you can, using your clinical expertise, I can take not any old substance, but I can basically prescribe or recommend things to my patients that, might from off the shelf, they're like, well, hey, this is for research purposes only. I'm like, yeah, well, with my degree and my expertise, I think it'll be good for your cold, like there's a bunch of things like that we recommend,
yeah,
for various things. And so that's the distinction that I think is important for people to kind of like understand. Like, you're never going to get somebody that's selling this off the shelf that tells you how to do it, where to do it, what amount to do it, because they can't tell you that it's for human consumption. But a physician or another practitioner, healthcare practitioner, using their expertise and their understanding of the body can, give it to people, and recommend dosages, recommend placement, all that stuff.
Matt, what about so say I start taking a peptide because I want to improve cognition or I want to increase muscle mass, and then I stop taking that peptide. Will I stop seeing those benefits once I stop taking the peptide?
No, like cognitive ones, yeah, I don't think you should be improved. I mean, when you're using it, you're probably gonna be a lot sharper. You maybe will go back to like a baseline or a little bit above. BPC, yeah, same thing. Like if you have a shoulder injury, it's gonna fix your shoulder injury up, but then you keep training on it, and if it's not fully healed, yeah, it'll nag again. But if you used it properly, like with some rehab or something, yeah, I mean, you could totally fix your injury. People coming off surgery and stuff, it helps their recovery time. The muscle building is one thing too, because I mean, so much goes into building muscle. If you like stop eating protein for a week, you're going to probably lose some of the muscle, but that's not a direct effect of stop using IGL-1. It's just, building onto things. So it's going to be a lot different than a guy getting on steroids who will gain 30 pounds and then he gets off steroids and he drops it right away because that's not real tissue. You know what I mean? So this is just going to add on to what you got. So they'll probably be a little longer lasting than anything else.
Where is it going? I know peptides are pretty. It's a newer thing. Like you hear about it all the time. You look on your social media scroll. It's like
Everywhere.
everyone's promoting a peptide. They're everywhere. Where is this going? Where do you see it in like 3 to 5 years?
I think it's like the future of different medicines. I mean, you already seen the FDA, jump on the GLP bandwagon. I think it's a matter of time before they start, approving all the peptides, but then they're going to brand name them all and then make it tough for guys like me to do what I'm doing. So that's the future to me because they're so effective and they can help so many people. I just think once they learn how to monetize it, I think it's going to be a different game, but I think we're a couple years away from that still.
And so who is that? Who's going to be the big players? It's drug
Yeah, the big
companies?
pharma. I think so.
Big
They'll
pharma.
get their hands on it and they'll figure a way out. Like even with the GLPs, like the Manjaro, that's tirzepatide. We make tirzepatide, but we have to like slightly do things different to not violate their patent. So we add like a little bit of BPC to it and put that on our label, just so it's not the same exact thing. I think they use B12 in theirs as well. We don't add the B12, so we're separate. We're a different thing, but that's what's going to happen with all of them, I think.
Yeah. Matt, I know we only have you for a little bit of time. Casey, do you have any other questions for Matt about peptides?
Oh, nothing comes to the top of my head. I think I agree. I think that because these are not just like some herbal supplement that you crush up and put in a tablet and maybe it helps you, maybe it doesn't. These are really, I would call them pharmacologic agents. You know, they're created in labs, they're naturally occurring in your body, but this is what your body uses to signal different cell cycles, to signal different neurotransmitters. I mean, they're making the legitimate compounds. And so it really is only a matter of time before big pharma gets their hands on it, and you can only get it through, you know, your insurance company or, you know, through the prescription and all that good stuff. So it's an interesting kind of landscape in that way, but there will probably be some role always for, like, you don't got to go to, you know, your local primary care physician to get stuff. You'll probably still have a role for medical spas
Yeah.
and wellness. I'm sure there will be some adaptation in the industry, like, you know, a wellness clinic, you know, like a medical wellness clinics may become just a little, like they might just step up their game.
Yeah.
And it's not just like some wellness guru who's trying to teach you how breath work and a few supplements and that. It's going to be a medical provider, someone like myself, who strictly does, you know, men's wellness and longevity. And then they can utilize these things. So I don't think it'll be really, really difficult for the consumer to get them. It's just going to change, you know, how the consumer, how it gets to them is going to have to change. And, you know, guys like, you know, yourself, Matt, who wholesale them, your role will change with it, but there will always be some pipeline, I think, to access these things, and there will always be a market to get them. It's just going to look a little different. Maybe I'll have to start billing insurance, you know what I mean, to get for people to get these things done, and that would be a headache, but that just may be the way it goes.
That's the world. Yeah, then we got to adapt to it. But for people who are still like unsure about them, they're just chains of proteins. They're protein chains that linked in a acids linked in a certain sequence develops a certain peptide. So it's not like it's just this random thing. You know what I mean? So people are still weary because you do inject them, and some people are still a little like, you know what I mean? But that's how they're administered now, and they're more effective that way than putting them in a capsule and trying to, you know, have them available that way. So, but they're very safe and they're very effective. And I encourage people to do their homework on it and look into it and see how they can fit into, you know, routines in your day-to-day lives. They could definitely help you.
Do you have like
Matt,
a bit of a cycle, Matt, that you're doing right now with your peptides? Do you have like a growth phase
Like
and like a
currently?
cycling off phase?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you're doing right now that you
Oh,
really
I
enjoy?
kind of pumped the brakes on all the training, like I mentioned before. But yeah, I mean, for sure, when I'm, you know, trying to pack stuff on, I have, you know, I'll use a lot more of the IGF and stuff, and for sure the BPC that helps my recovery and helps my joints and stuff. And then, you know, as things, you know, back off from my training and I need to like lock into like business or I want to learn, and then I really will utilize the cognitive ones. So yeah, it just kind of depends on how my life is and how I can use them and stuff. So there's a place for it at certain times always.
Matt, if someone wants to go and start working with you, either themselves order or a doctor, what's the best way
Yeah,
to, you know,
for
either
sure, check out the website, biomedicalnutra.com, Nutra. We have a lot of information on there. We have a phone number on there. There's an email on there. My direct email is matt@biomedicalnutra. So if anyone wants to contact me directly, please feel free to do so. But yeah, you can check the website out and you can call or you can email on there or do one of the contact us things and we'll get it and you can definitely reach out to you. And if anyone wants to try to, you can order on the website as well. So but we have different pricing options in bulk for wholesale too. So if you're a clinic or something, things are a little different. If anyone wants to try it, you can buy it individually on the website also.
Awesome. Matt, thanks so much. This was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to try some of your products.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for chatting with
Yeah.
me about it. It's interesting, fun stuff. So
Absolutely. Awesome, Matt. Well, we'll talk soon.
all right,
Okay.
boys. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Yo. Two dudes on the mic, keeping health in sight. Dr. Goodman and Ben making wellness feel right. From workouts to hacks and science that's real. Dudes talking health, the conversation you feel. Two dudes on the mic, keeping health in sight. Dr. Goodman and Ben making wellness feel right. From workouts to hacks and science that's real. Dudes talking health, the conversation you feel. Two dudes on the mic, keeping health in sight. Dr. Goodman and Ben making wellness feel right. From workouts to hacks and science that's real. Dudes talking health, the conversation you feel.